All right, let's get started. I want to talk about, we're kind of in the home stretch here. 3 more hours, we'll be done. We'll cut it short into 2.5 hours. We'll make sure we've got some caffeine. Good? Good. So my lovely wife would be back there at the brownies, eating brownie after brownie. She's a sugaraholic. What's that? Yeah, and then she'll go out and run 10 miles, so that's why she's 105 pounds. So, probably one of the people that loves chiropractic, is very much like Parker is. My wife loves chiropractic, and she loved chiropractic before I met her, which made it even better. So we're a good team, and what's that? Oh, he had to teach you to love it? That's right. She had you at hello, is what it was. Or he had you at hello, one of the two. But my wife goes out and does some marketing, so she goes out to medical practices. We spend a lot of time marketing medical practices for patients, and we've had some good success with that. But she has no, inhibitions about talking about chiropractic care. So we have the staff that's at the front desk in some of those medical practices coming in as patients. The doctors are referring patient, nurses, some of the doctors, because of her enthusiasm for what we do as chiropractors, and it's fantastic. So, but that's good. So the brownie reminded me of that. So, but let's talk about something else exciting, and that's financial reports of findings. Staff, I want you to pay attention. Doctors, in particular. I mentioned the CA class that we'll be teaching in Pinehurst. We focus a lot of attention on this because, again, I think this all dovetails so intimately when you're talking about good clinical judgment, how to communicate care to patients, how to communicate finances to patients. I want to get all that stuff out of the way. Why? Because I want to focus on getting people well. I want my patients to come in thinking about getting well, not about their co-payment, how many times they have to come in this week, whether it's insurance-based or cash-based, okay? So this is part of it. So when we start talking about finances, we are very, very honest with our patients in our office. We're very honest and upfront with our patients. So we're going to kind of go through this. Closing the deal doesn't have to be such a big deal. Some of you have a different deal every time the patient walks in. If they drive up in a Mercedes, we charge them the full amount. They've got a $70 co-payment, and by God, we're going to get that $70 co-payment. But then if they drive up in a beat-up old Yugo, right? Does everybody remember what a Yugo? Okay. A Ford Fiesta, a Chevette, something like that. But an old clunker, what do? Oh, they can't afford it, so we just charge them you don't understand, Dr. Sharp, we charge them our $20 visit plan. So that's not how you should do it. First of all, it's not consistent with your H&S agreement. And so if you're doing that, you're committing insurance fraud, let alone you're being dishonest with your contract and relationship with H&S. And then the other thing about it is you can't afford to give up money, okay? So we want to talk a little bit about that. So the essentials of a good report of findings is don't talk too much. Don't complicate it. Okay? I used to have a 2.5-page financial report of findings sheet. It had different colors. It had all kinds of different types of text in it. My patients would glaze over. They didn't understand it. So you want to be very simple and to the point. So don't talk too much. It needs to be preceded by a great clinical report of findings. Docs, don't sit there, look at your checking account balance, and then go out and put your finger in your staff's face and blame them for lack of finances. They certainly have a responsibility, but you need to articulate and inspire and compel your patients with the understanding of chiropractic and what chiropractic care is going to do for them and their condition. You need to have the belief and conviction that the doctor's care is necessary. So staff, if they suggest an 18-visit care plan or a 12-visit care plan, do you believe that? Do you believe in chiropractic care? Do you get adjusted yourself? That's important to me and my staff. And I want to have that, because you can never do this if you don't have a belief and conviction. Above all things, be honest with the patient. Okay? If they've got a $3,000 deductible and it's Blue Cross Blue Shield plan, they've got that big deductible, it doesn't matter to me. So what would be the easy thing to do? Well, our cash visit's $40. We'll bill out the first visit for the exam and x-rays, and then from there on out, we're going to just bill you our cash visit. Wink, wink, nod, nod. First of all, again, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not consistent with your contract, number one. Number two, you can't simply afford to lose that revenue, okay? So it is what it is. My staff doesn't choose my patient's insurance plan. They choose their insurance plan. So what's the average? If the allowance is $68 or $70, whatever it is, that's what the cost is, $70 a visit. It is what it is. So be honest with them, be upfront with them. And then the second thing is follow your script every time. Don't reinvent this process. Keep it simple and to the point. Don't cower down. Just be very consistent with it. Again, this is not a big deal if you don't make it a big deal. Again, honesty is always the best policy, being specific with them. If they have a limitation on their plan, don't hijink them and not tell them about that. If they're restricted to the number of visits or a dollar amount, be upfront, let them know that. Don't get them 2 weeks into the care and then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, you have no more benefit left. You want to make sure you're upfront and honest with them. And then number 7, don't talk too much, okay? So staff, don't talk too much. Doctors, my recommendation is don't talk finances with your patients. Now, some of you may have a different feel for that, but it's my experience that when doctors start striking deals in the back, they completely undermine the front desk. And money, I see all the CAs going like this. We got whiplash right now. All right? So you don't want to do that. So make sure, in my office, as soon as my patient starts asking me about insurance or finances, I say, quite frankly, I'm not sure about your finances. I really don't know much about that. I want you to go up and talk to Tara. Tara handles all that stuff. And Tara knows what she can do, what she can't do. So she has some latitude to make financial arrangements with people based on office policy, not on what their auto policy is, okay? So this is my not-so-fancy report of findings. The Dom, the Trump, the Donald Trump is my patient here, okay? And so he comes into the office. We've set him up. This is based on the Pinnacle Financial Report of Findings form. It's very simple, and I'll give Dr. Hayes the credit for this. I have the patient's name, the insurance company, Blue Cross Blue Shield. They've got a $40 copayment. I've recommended an 18-visit care plan, okay? So essentially, what happens is after I finish my exceptional clinical report of findings, and I provide a life-saving adjustment to the patient, right? Okay, all right. Then I finish up with my care. I give them instructions. Then I walk them up to the front desk, and I say to Tara, she's expecting me, of course. I come up. The adjustment went very well with Mr. Trump today. So if you could review his financial report of findings, I'd appreciate it, and I'd like to see him tomorrow. And then I turn and go away. And then first thing that Tara does is she schedules the appointment. What's the most important thing about that patient? Their treatment, right? So we've scheduled the appointment, and then she goes over, and this form has been filled out, okay? And why is it filled out? Is because I don't leave my office at the end of the day without finishing all of my notes and reviewing all of my x-rays and having all this information for Tara, so when she comes in the next morning, she can finish these report of findings sheets throughout the day. So if I've got 4 or 5 new patients and I've got 4 or 5 reports of findings, she's prepared. She's not rushing around trying to do all this. Her responsibility is to verify the insurance and get this information so she can fill this out. But me as the clinician, I've got to give her the information I need. And that number is 18. It can be 10. It could be whatever it is. I'm just using this as an example. So in this case, you'd say, Mr. Trump, you have Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance. It has a $40 copayment. Dr. Sharp has recommended an 18-visit care plan. And then as you see, down at the bottom it says your total estimated patient cost. And with a red pen, she circles that each time, every single time, circles that your total estimated cost is $720. You can pay for that all today, or we can make arrangements. Okay? And that's the end of the financial report of findings. All right? That's what? We got 15, 20 seconds wrapped up into that. So some of you are like gone aghast, $720, that's a lot of money. So what did the patient say? Some people walk out, pull out that American Express card or MasterCard Visa, and they pay for it all on the first day. Oh, I don't know, probably 15 or 20% of my patients. And it's not all your rich patients either, okay? It's patients that really want the care and are on board. So then you have patients, well, what kind of arrangements can we make? Well, we can split this into 3 equal monthly payments, which would be what? About $735 or something like that, or $235. And we can spread that out over 3 weeks. And most patients will accept that level of reimbursement or that payment schedule, okay? Some don't. I can't afford that. No problem. We can split that into 4 equal monthly payments, which would be, what, $140 or whatever. And then if they say, I still can't afford that, then my staff will say, what can you afford? Well, I can afford $100 a month. Fine. No problem. We take that. We keep a credit card on file. And then for the next 7.2 months, right, 7 months, we'll charge $100 a month for that 7 months. Now, most of the time, it's in 3 monthly payments. We keep credit cards on file for our patients and process it that way. Now, what if they say, can I just pay at the time of service? The answer is what? Sure, no problem. No pressure at all, no problem. Some people have to because they have an HSA card that has to be processed at each visit. No big deal to me. Some people want to. No big deal to me. Quite frankly, for me, it's better for them to pay at the time of service. I get more money up front. I'm willing to spread it out over up to a 6-month payment schedule. So this is the thing. I never, emphasis never, discount my fees. What I do all the time is I work out payment plans. So my cash fee is $55 an office visit on every single cash patient. Every single cash patient. Now, do I give care away for free? Absolutely. Free care is different than discounted care. You know, there are people that just can't afford my care, and so we do that. And but that's not too often either. So we have these payment plans. The patients take care of it, and guess what? Staff, imagine this. How many times do your patients stop at the front desk on an office visit? They stop on the way in, and they stop on the way out. So we get rid of the need to stop at the office to make a payment, write a check, process a credit card, especially if you're doing that, if you're seeing 50 patients in a day and you're having to process 50 payments a day, you know, that takes a lot of time. So again, what's my objective? Patient treatment, okay? I want my staff focused on treatment. I want to be focused on treatment. So everything in my office is geared around efficiencies so we can maximize the time and attention to the patient. And this is just another way, okay? So yes, you can keep credit cards on file. A lot of the systems, you can actually put them in. Your banks will allow you to put that information in, and it automatically processes that. There are a lot of different ways for you to do that. I have patients, maintenance patients, that have not had a financial transaction over my counter in literally years and years and years. The only thing that they have to do is update their credit card once in a while when the new credit card comes in, okay? So that's a way we do it. Now again, we're trying to be honest with the patients. We're trying to work it out. And it's interesting, my patients will say from time to time, and they do their online reviews and so forth, Dr. Sharp's a great chiropractor. He has payment plans. Okay? So payment plans are a good thing. So I get to help more people. I make it more affordable, and it's a great way to do it. And quite frankly, my per-visit collection rate is probably much higher than most chiropractors because we collect it that way. Okay? All right. So any thoughts, questions, complaints about that?
The patient did have a deductible to meet that wasn't revealed to me at the time, and so what do you do then? Like, because now you got to go back to the patient and tell them they owe more than $720, right?
Yeah. Well, that would be, or what's more likely to happen is you're told it's a $30 copayment when actually once the claims process is $40 copayment. You just go back and you just talk to the patient. We start getting the EOBs. That's why we circle this as an estimated patient cost. The other thing, well, to finish your question, is we just go back and talk to the patient about it, and they understand, okay? The other thing is, what if we say an 18 estimated care plan, and in 12 visits, the condition's resolved? Well, no big deal. By that time, we haven't collected more money probably, or once in a while, we'll have a little bit more money, a credit on their account. And if we've got a credit, if they're staying under maintenance care or supportive care, then we just roll it over. If they want the money, we write a check out. It's no big deal. Tara, every week, in fact, particularly after we process an H&S check, because that's such a big bulk of our patients, is we go in and she, every time she does, so that's 3 times a month, she'll generate these, she'll have 1 or 2, sometimes none, where we've got credits, and we'll write a credit check to the patient. But you have to do that as well, I'm sure. So those happen, okay? We do not take post-dated checks. That has never worked very well for me. But this is a very, very good, efficient way to collect money, okay? Any other thoughts, questions? Okay, good. All right. So again, these high deductible plans are important. Again, above all, be honest with your patients and tell them the true cost of their care. Don't just staff convert those patients over to cash. That's a violation of your H&S contract, number one. And number two, your cash rate, even if it's 55 like mine, the average reimbursement for Blue Cross Blue Shield is somewhere around $68, $69. So that's a loss of $14 per visit if I don't bill that to Blue Cross Blue Shield. So if H&S takes, what is it? How much percent? It depends on who you are. They take 20% of my check. No, what is it, like 8 or 9%? 8.7, what is it? All right, so let's say they take 10% of my check. Let's say 10% off that $17, that's only an additional $1.70 to make that money. So off a $69 reimbursement, you're paying H&S, or H&S is taking an administrative fee of $6.90. So I'm still making $11 more for that patient each visit when I bill it to insurance. So even if that's 30 patient visits a week, okay, that's over $300. That's over $1,200 a month. That's a lot of money. I can't afford to give that up. So make sure that you're billing all these and collecting all this money. Bill for all of your services and collect the money based on the allowance. The other thing is somebody comes in, I've heard this, they've got an $80 copayment and the staff starts collecting an $80 copayment. You're only supposed to collect up to the allowed for that given date of service. So we talked about the children. If you've got a child and I'm doing a 98940, what's the reimbursement for that? Like $30? What is it? 29. That's all I get paid for 98940. So say 29 or $30, then you just collect that $30, not the full copay. Okay? So just collect up to the allowance. Don't automatically turn them into cash patients, and simply make this part of your financial report of findings. Just be upfront and honest with them. Again, it's the way things are. This is one of the most important profitability issues in chiropractic right now, and many of you are committing fraud and abuse by the way you're handling this. So do it because you need to do it for the right reasons, and again, it's good for you and your bottom line as well. Okay? Any questions about that at all? Okay. Anybody violating that? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. How do we grow our practices? Okay. Where can we grow our profit? What can we do to increase the profitability? Some of you, it's just a matter of billing for all the care that's being done in your office and not converting them to cash patients. Let's do the right thing for the right reasons. What fees do we need to look at? We got a 4% increase in Cigna, which is fantastic. And we've got 2 increases with Blue Cross Blue Shield over the year. And so guess what MedCost is going to increase our fees by? All right? 0. Why are they going to do 0? It's because we're still not billing up to the alloweds that MedCost has. That's in part of the reason why. So is that correct? That's part of it. Right, and I want to make more money. Did you want to say something? Okay. I've got 7 kids and 4 in college right now. I need to get more money out of MedCost and Cigna and all that. No, I'm just kidding. So, but let's look at the fees and make sure we're billing to those level of fees. A good example, look at those MedCost fees for our contract here in North Carolina. That's the highest fee schedule. Start looking at what you're billing for your codes. Are you meeting those fee schedules or above those fee schedules, okay? What services do our patients ask us to provide? What could we be doing? We saw earlier the corporate medical policy for Blue Cross Blue Shield is they don't pay for kinesiotaping. That doesn't necessarily mean we can't do kinesiotaping. It's a cash-oriented business. There's a lot of people that do it. If you've been to a high school sporting event, everybody's walking around with kinesiotape on their shoulders and the knees and their low backs. And again, it's another service that you could be doing. Orthotics we talked about. My key is go ahead and provide the services, bill for those that are medically necessary and consistent with the corporate medical policy, but look for opportunities outside of that to expand what your patients want and what your patients need. For the love of God, please stop discounting your fees, not charging for all your services, and bill those high deductible plans, okay? And review your fees regularly, including your cash fee. How many of you have not increased your cash fee in the last 10 years? Don't answer that, okay? Let's look at that cash fee. We can't collude here and start asking what people are charging, but you need to have a good system that you address that. And we don't, I remember several years ago, Dr. Stroud, many of you know Dr. Stroud, we were at a Central District meeting, and I was very proud that I increased my fee from $40 to $42.50. And I thought he was going to punch me for doing it for $2.50. And he said, what do you think your staff's going to have to do all day long? Well, they're going to have to make change for $42.50. So he said, you're a sissy. He said, you need to change it to $45. And I said, $45? I said, well, how should I do that? He said, well, tomorrow's a good day to do it. So sure enough, we went in, we changed it to $45, and magically enough, nothing happened. Everybody paid the $45. But again, the standard, you need to make good business decisions based on your fees and make sure you're doing it right and look at those little things as well, okay? All right, so how to keep your compliant practice profitable. So again, where do we grow our profit? What fees do we need to look at? What services do our patients ask us to provide? And again, stop discounting those fees and cash fees. Here we go. So bottom line, this is kind of the average, what the average chiropractic practice looks like. So 40% of your patients are cash, meaning they could just be cash patients. They could be maintenance or supportive care patients. Some of them are PI patients. Some of them are group insurance patients, and then you've got some Medicare patients. Again, some of you have a lot more Medicare patients, some of you have a lot more PI patients, but for practical purposes, this is fairly consistent with what I've seen in many of your practices, okay? So the number one way to increase revenue into your practice is how? Through which group of patients? Cash, right? So let's base this on 100 patient visits a week. All right? If you're seeing 100 patient visits a week, that means 40 of your patients come in and they're cash patients. So if you were to increase that by $5, what's 40 times 5? $200, right? So not even seeing one more new patient, I've just increased my weekly income by $200, essentially $800 for the month if I see 40 cash patients. Again, some of you are seeing more, some of you have higher volume, some a little bit lower volume, but I've just increased my revenue by $200 a week just by increasing that fee, one particular fee, okay? Now, some of you have cash fees. Again, mine's $55. I see patients. I'm on the western edge of the county, so I've got people coming in from rural counties. I've got CEOs coming from downtown, so I have a variety of different people, but it's the same fee for everybody, okay? All right, and this is the CPT code that I bill for that service. Everybody write this down, okay? CASH, okay? I swear to God, maybe the most common question I get by email from people is what CPT code do you bill for cash patients? But I choose to do that so there's no conflict with my fee schedule, so it's just cash. I don't use a CPT code. Certainly when I'm billing insurance for maintenance care, it's an S8990 code. I could do that as well, okay? But I choose to use that cash code, and we feel comfortable with the level it's at. I feel like going up to $60 is just a little big of a jump right now, but it seems to be pretty good. So let's look at group insurance. So group insurance is a little bit more difficult to, quote unquote, make more money off of. So Blue Cross Blue Shield pays me the same that it pays you, that it saves you, that it pays you. Everybody gets paid the same. So again, it goes back to how are you collecting the co-payments, the deductibles, and the co-insurance. Again, with those high co-payments, really what H&S, what the check we get from H&S is becoming a smaller and smaller portion of the revenue from those patients. So number one, make sure you're collecting all the money up front. Number two is look at those contracts, like the MedCost contract. What am I billing? Staff, if you're looking and you've billed out $30 and they've paid $30, you need to look at that fee. Maybe you're not charging enough, you're not taking advantage of the full fee schedule for that particular plan. So you can pick up a little bit more revenue by just increasing your fee or your fees to meet the obligations of the fee schedules. What's the other way you can make some more money with your insurance patients? What's that? Rehab, is that what we said? Rehab. Of course, all the H&S plans pay for different levels of rehab. What I was going to go to is non-covered services, okay? Laser, acupuncture, decompression, things like that, more personalized rehab, a lot of different things that you can realize from those patients that they're willing to pay for. Even though it's not part of the corporate medical policy, you can be billing those patients for that, okay? I've got a buddy of mine that does a lot of massage. He understands what he can and cannot do under his contract, but he provides massage therapists on site. And so they have essentially a little spa associated with their practice, and so they're making revenue from the spa for their insurance patients, okay? It's very clear as to what's covered and what's non-covered, and so it works pretty well, okay? Again, the kinesiotaping, things like that are very, very good to do. So additional revenue from there. Now, PIs. Let's talk about PIs. Now, again, we're assuming everybody's being honest, right, with all of these charges, right? We want to be honest about that. But in PI, this goes right to what you're billing for your CPT codes. So I had one office, I was teaching a group of CAs, and she came up to me, and they charge for CPT codes for all of their patients, the Blue Cross Blue Shield allowed. Okay, now think of that. So my 98940, I'm getting paid $29 with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Guess what I get paid by State Farm Insurance? $29, okay? Guess what I'm getting paid for my STEM and track? The $9 or $10 or $12 that we're getting paid under the Blue Cross Blue Shield contract. What do most of you charge for muscle stem? $25. That's what I charge too. Okay. So you're charging $25. So in that situation, that particular office is only getting paid $12. I'm getting paid $25. That's for one therapy. So I'm making $13 per visit for only one therapy. And again, if it's $29 and I'm charging $55, for a 98940, which is my standard fee for that. So I'm making what? That's $26. So 26 plus 13 plus if I do any other therapy. I could be making $40 bucks more per visit because I have a good, consistent fee schedule in my office. So you pick that up in your PI, your liability, and your med pay and all that. I had an office the other day that I get all kinds of interesting questions. An attorney was wanting to reduce the settlement in their office, and he was mad as a hornet, He put some extra language in there for me. He's an acquaintance of mine. So I went in there, I emailed him back, how many visits have you seen this patient? Well, he'd seen the patient, I forget it was, 18, 19 visits, something like that. And so I divided what they were requesting for him to accept as full and final payment. He was making $119 a visit, and he was mad as a hornet, okay? So, some of it, whatever he was charging, I don't know, but the point being is, he had a good fee schedule, he had good CPT codes with strong fees on it, and he was making quite a bit of money with that. So, again, the key is to maximize the profitability within the confines of integrity, compliance, coding, corporate medical policy, and all that stuff. At the end of the day, I want to make as much money as I can ethically make in my practice, and that's what I want for you. The second thing I would say is, if you're doing something in your practice only to make more money, you're probably doing something wrong, okay? So don't do things for patients that they don't need. Just do things to provide things that they need and, of course, collect the revenue, okay? So those are just a few examples. Medicare. The one thing I would say about Medicare patients is, again, we've only got 3 codes, so this is not very complicated. If you're doing therapy on your Medicare patients, and if you're not billing for it, then you're in violation of federal law. If you're if you're not doing exams and x-rays, you need to do those. Patient comes in, my 99202 is $90. So when a Medicare patient comes in, guess what they pay? $90, okay? It's very uncomplicated. I'm a very simple man. My cash patients pay for a 99202, $90, okay? My x-rays, a lumbar series is, I think it's $70 or $80. I forget what that is. But my Medicare patients pay for that. So if they need x-rays, we bill them. We collect for that. So we're doing exams, x-rays, we're billing the patient. Actually, for Medicare, I'm non-par. So my Medicare patients pay at the time of service for everything. I actually make more money per visit with my Medicare patients than I do certainly with my United Healthcare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna patients. I make more with my Medicare patients, okay? So again, those are business decisions. And do I lose some of my Medicare patients or some Medicare patients not see me? Probably so, okay? But the Medicare patients that do come in to see me are well vested, and we make a good, reasonable profit on that. And guess what? Those patients are very easy to convert over to supportive care as well, okay? They're used to paying for it. Any questions on that? You guys are so easy. You're either asleep or just so riveted by this information, you're speechless.